provoke outrage in some corners. In fact, a school board meeting in Tennessee devolved into chaos earlier this week after officials approved a temporary mask requirement for local elementary schools. Inside the meeting, one parent shared this message.
Our local children's hospital is on diversion right now, and we're just within our first week of school. Yes, no more masks sounds good until it affects your family personally. It's our duty to protect our children, and we don't have time to wait for others to get vaccinated. But what we can do right now is agree that masks will slow the spread. It's our best defense we have to keep some type of normalcy within our community. So let's link arms, protect our children during these unprecedented times while we have the chance.
Joining me right now to discuss is that in that school board meeting, and now we're so glad you could be with us.
She's a respiratory therapist.
Hear more about your sentiments. So, is it your feeling that people just don't have a clear understanding of how much worse it would be to be intubated, for their kids to be intubated, rather than whatever discomfort might come from wearing a mask?
As a medical professional, it's a different world from reality. And as a parent, as a healthcare provider, I'm trying to stand in the gap to inform these people that this virus is killing folk. It's really, really serious. And yes, most of our patients get intubated. And once they get intubated, you're not coming off the unit. You're not going back to work. It's very common for patients to get tracheotomies, and have dialysis regularly. You know, the virus is causing kidney failure, liver disease, strokes. So no, you're not going back home. You're not going back to work anytime soon if you make it off the COVID unit. And if you make it off the COVID unit, you may be going home with supplemental oxygen because you're still having a hard time breathing. So I wish that I could take a small camera in these units and really, really show these people. If I was in the healthcare industry, I would so appreciate another mother or an healthcare advocate to, guide me and tell me what I should do. What's the best thing to do in order to help my family and the community?
Yeah, I mean, I hear you loud and clear. I mean, if you're lucky enough to survive COVID, you are still not going to be able to resume the life that you once knew before
COVID is on the rise.
Of the lasting repercussions.
Protect your children as they go back to school.
Remains one
You
of
may
the
need to keep them online for another year. And parents, I know it's hard.
Doubled over the last week alone. And new data from the CDC is showing that children now account for a larger share of hospitalizations across the nation than they did in January. So one would think that that would be enough to convince parents to do everything possible to keep their children safe and not be amongst the ranks that you felt during that school board meeting, contesting the idea of mask wearing. I mean, how do you explain this outrage and the threats? Where is all this coming from in your view?
Parent choice when it's just your child. But it can't be parent choice if it affects every child. It's a mask. It's free. It's air. It's light. If your mask gets soiled, there are disposable masks at the schools to change into. They are free. They cost nothing. This is what I have to go to work in for 13 hours a day. This is hard to breathe in. We get sores across our nose. No, we don't get, facial rashes or have any type of respiratory distresses or pneumonias or anything. But I'm wearing this. I have goggles. I have so much gear on me, and it gets hot in those rooms. It takes time to go in and get dressed and come out, and I just wish parents would get it. I don't know what else to
Well, what's
I
it
don't
gonna
know.
take for, and what will it take for the parents who don't get it right now to get it? I mean, I remember hearing from one of the women in a school board meeting who said, you know, these masks keep my child from breathing.
When we went to school last year, there was a mask mandate. If you wanted your child in school, you had to wear the mask. If you want to go to the grocery store, if there's a mask mandate, you have to wear the mask. If you want to go to any other facility, you have to wear the mask. You will comply. These kids are resilient. It's the parents that have the problem with the kids wearing the mask.
Yes,
because
parents
they
put the
wanna
mask
have
on the
control of
children.
this. They're making it political. It's not political. We're just trying to protect you and your family. And if you don't heed to it now, it's not a matter of
Time
if you'll get it, you're gonna get it.
that your child will be on the
You can't taste it,
respiratory.
You can't touch it, you can't feel it, but it's there. And it's gonna get you one way or the other. I think a lot of parents tend to look at their little bubble. Are you there? I'm sorry.
No, I'm listening.
Okay. I think they're enclosed in their own bubble, and you know, they may have known someone who have had COVID, but they didn't get as sick, or they didn't show any signs or symptoms or anything, and they don't see what we see. Maybe they do. I don't know. I would think if they saw or had a loved one that had gotten sick or ill, as many people have died in this world, I would think everybody knows someone who has died from COVID or have gotten severely disabled due to the COVID disease.